So the reinstated ban on alcohol, while aimed at saving lives, will no doubt have an impact on jobs.
And the fiscus, Judy, you're quite right. I mean, there's a lot at stake on either side of the spectrum. The ban on the sale of alcohol will worsen the country's jobless rate and spell disaster for the sector. So just a quick look at some of the numbers for context here, Dudu. Industry players say a value chain of 1 million workers rely on an income from the sector. Now, Vinpro, which represents wine producers and industry stakeholders, say 117 jobs were lost after the first alcohol sales ban in April. Jobs in the already embattled restaurant industry. That's another factor to consider, also hang in the balance, as sit-down restaurants claim alcohol sales make up a large portion of their turnover. So that's the jobs. Let's zone in now on the potential tax revenue loss resulting from the ban due to the numbers could be staggering. Now, here's an interesting fact here. At the end of April, SARS Commissioner Edward Kieswetter gave some figures for losses during the first ban. In reply to a question by an MP during a virtual meeting of a parliamentary committee, he said the under-recovery on beer was 664 million rand. Then there was a wine under-recovery, taxes there, almost 300 million rand in the red, and on spirits, just over 400 million. So whichever way you look at it, there is lesser and lesser money going into the fiscus from this, Dudu, and of course questions will be raised on where we get the money from.
A bidder for Edcon.
Yeah, the sale of this embattled retailer slowly gaining traction, piece by piece, albeit. The Fashini Group has offered embattled retailer Edcon 480 million rand for viable Jet Stores. Edcon, which owns Edgar's and Jet Stores, announced, you'll remember, in late April that it would file for voluntary business rescue. This after the lockdown worsened its already dire financial position. Last week, Edcon's business rescue practitioners announcing they had signed an agreement to sell parts of Edgar's to Retailability. That's the owner of the Legit brand. And all of this in context of last month's announcement by the business practitioners saying an accelerated sale of the divisions was the only way to save the company and jobs of its thousands of employees. Fashini Group's 480 million rand offer is aimed at a minimum of 371 commercially viable Jet Stores. So indeed, it is gaining some traction now.
On a higher note, or we should end the business bulletin on a higher note, markets flying high today.
Yes, it is. It's unfortunate that there's just no sync between what happens on the markets and what happens in the real economy, which is really sinking at the moment. But global stocks, as you say, are rising as investors turn their focus to major U.S. companies that will report earnings this week. It helps to get some certainty from companies in the world's largest economy. Broad-based gains on the JSE this afternoon, but the JSE these days is no reflection, as I say, of what is happening in the economy because most of those shares are due listed. Here's a closer look at what the numbers are telling us to do.